Let's go Joe Menzer, then we'll go to Bruce Martin, and then George Diaz.
Joe Menzer, NASCAR.com. Tony, this race seemed to sort of almost an epic feel to it from the beginning. Carl said it was like an unbelievable movie, the way it unfolded. Did you have any kind of feeling or sense of that in the seat of the car as the night was going on?
Gene says I got to watch the rerun, so
It's on at 1 a.m.
I'll be up. May not be able to focus on the screen, but I'll be up. It did. I mean, I don't know that it necessarily had that feel, but the storyline was pretty amazing. You got a guy that goes out and is leading the point standings, qualifies on the pole, and is dominating the first part of the race. The guy that's the underdog and the guy that's 3 points behind is having to jump hurdles and jump through hoops to, salvage their day. And then we come battle back. I mean, when we had that red flag at lap 109, I'm sitting out there and I'm just laughing with crew guys. I mean, there's crew guys going, "What are you doing? What's going on here?" And they're going, "Where are you coming from?" I'm like, "Where else am I going to go? I don't have anything else to do. If I crash this thing on the way to the front, so be it." And it wasn't that I was throwing caution to the wind. I mean, we were trying to be calculated and methodical about what we were doing, but the storylines are total opposites. I mean, you got a guy that's got the perfect race going. I mean, he's leading laps, and when he's not leading, he's second or third, and he's right where he wants to be in the position he needs to be in all day long at that point. And you got the other guy it's like, man, can we get there from here? You feel like you got the big fish on the hook, and you're running out of line. You're wondering if you're going to run out soon. But when you sit there, and when we took the lead the first time, I think it had to make him go, how did they, in the red flag, he's sitting there going, so what's going on with them? They've come back from the back twice and they're fifth now. He's thinking about that. And I sat there, I swear to God, I was sitting there, and Jack Roush and Doug Yates were sitting there talking, and I walked by Jack and I said, "You better tell your boy to get up on the wheel, because I'm on my way and I'm coming." And I was joking, I've screwed with everybody all week. Why am I going to stop now, So, and Jack looks at me like I got three heads all of a sudden, which I didn't know if it was because he couldn't see me or what was going on, but he kind of looked at me. I'm joking, come on. But Doug's sitting there laughing at me because he knows what I'm doing, and Jack looks at me kind of funny and went about my business and got back in the car, and I'm just laughing about it, and like, we still got nothing to lose, and we just keep slinging it at him. And when you take the lead, he got to be sitting here, he's sitting there going, how in the heck did they just do that? I mean, they've been tore up twice, coming to them back twice. How did they get there? So, storyline was pretty cool, I thought, up to that point.
We'll go Bruce, George, and then David Newton.
Bruce Martin, SportsIllustrated.com. This is a little bit of a provincial question in that this is big news back in your home state.
Hey, you got to use small words. I have no idea what kind of question that means.
It means back in your home state. This is really big news. You win another championship. When you were a kid coming up, everybody wanted to be the next A.J. Foyt. Now these guys in the grassroots level in that state want to grow up and be the next Tony Stewart.
They should set their standards much higher than that.
But just talk a little bit about bringing this title back to your home state.
I'm proud of where I came from. I mean, my career path made a pretty drastic turn, and I don't know how many people actually know. I mean, I had a chance to drive for AJ when the IRL started, and I had been working on a deal with Harry Ranier to join the Busch Series at the time, and was really close to having that done, and my intention was to do that. And then all of a sudden the opportunity came to drive for AJ in the IRL, and the IRL only had 5 races, so I'm like, I had every intention of doing both. I was used to running sprint cars, Silver Crown cars, midgets all on the same night, and I didn't see why I couldn't run 5 IndyCar races and run the limited schedule that Ranier's wanted. And AJ kind of put the kibosh to that. He wanted me to either be an IndyCar driver or be a NASCAR driver, and that was a pretty hard decision to make. And to tell your hero that you're going to turn down an opportunity to drive his race car to go do something else. But I had worked with the Ranier family long enough. I didn't want to let them down, and I didn't necessarily want to turn down that opportunity. But I had to make a decision in my career of not knowing what was going to happen with the IRL and the stability of NASCAR at the time. And and you'd think it would be some big scientific reason, but the biggest factor that made me say, okay, I'm going to go the NASCAR route was I got to race 33 races a year versus 11, and didn't have to worry about what was going to happen. So, from where I grew up and my heritage and running home from school the 1st of May to watch practice, that was a big deal to me. But, I chose a different career path, and, we've had success with it, and I'm proud. I mean, we've had a pretty big shock this year in Indiana with the Colts of having Peyton Manning on the sideline, and trust me, I feel like I've been kicked by a mule because of it. But the guy beside me's had some pretty big Peyton Manning moments, and I take a lot of pride in the fact that we're going to be bringing a trophy back home.
What's it going to be like in Columbus?
Well, I already know that Bob Franke at the Dairy Queen's already been giving ice cream away tonight, and he will tell me to the penny exactly how much money he lost doing it. I mean, literally to the cent, he'll tell me how much money it cost him. But, I live in a town of 35,000 people, and I still got the same friends that I had growing up. And, when I go home, people let me just be me. They see me in a restaurant, and they'll come by and say hi. And, I've been back home long enough now. I think the news wore off, and I'm just another person. But, it's a sense of pride that when the people in your community come up and say they're proud of you and you did a good job, that means a lot, and I'm excited about the day I get to go home now.
Let's go over here to George Diaz, then we'll go David Newton, and then to Jerry Jordan. Go ahead, George.
Tony, to your left over here. George Diaz with the Orlando Sentinel. You obviously had a lot of fun poking Carl and whatnot this week, but
I don't poke Carl. I made that real clear. I like women, so I'll not be poking Carl. So.
Okay, I'll try to
Carl
rephrase.
a lot,
All right, I'll try to rephrase the question.
I just really, really want to make sure nobody gets the wrong idea about that. So.
That'll be an interesting transcript. But anyway, regardless, was there ever a moment where in your head, there was a slip, just a slight bit of doubt or nervousness or whatever it might be that kind of creeped into your head during this whole run leading up to it?
Oddly enough, I mean, there should have been a moment like that, and I can't. That's been the one thing that's probably been the one variable in the equation that I haven't been able to understand and get my hands around, is that there just never was that moment of feeling despair and like, can we really do this? It's like we were in the perfect scenario of coming into this weekend with no possible shot of losing anything. Contrary to what my favorite guy mentioned on media day, we honestly just did not. That we physically couldn't lose anything. There was nothing to lose, and there was everything to gain. And with that, it takes so much pressure off when you know that if anything happens, that you're not going to be any worse than second. And considering the fact that 10 weeks ago we were saying that we were wasting a spot in the chase to begin with, second wasn't so bad if that's what happened. But at the same time, I mean, you don't have to dangle a carrot in front of us to get our spurs jingling and get us excited about what we can get and what we can reach. So, I mean, I meant what I said in media day, that it's a dangerous combination when you give a guy a shot at something and he can't lose anything. I mean, that's a potent situation to be in for our organization and our team and myself. So. With that, I honestly can't say that there was that moment where I felt that way. I guess it was the perfect scenario. I really wanted to leave Homestead. Honestly, I wanted to leave Homestead with the point lead. I thought that would really be the best opportunity to rattle his confidence. But in hindsight, we came here and there was never a moment where I was wound up. I mean, I was up at 2:30 in the morning this morning, couldn't sleep, and I was watching every stupid movie you can think of on TV because I was having fun. And I couldn't explain it. I don't understand it, but that's where we were at with it. It felt natural. There was something that felt right with it, and I never had that moment where I felt like we couldn't do this or that something could go wrong. If it did, it did. But we had more to gain than we had to lose.
Let's go over here to David Newton and then
I
to
can't
Jerry.
shut up tonight either. I'm ready to get out of here. Somebody stop me.
Hey, Tony, David Newton, ESPN.com, way over here. Darian was talking earlier, and he he's been telling us for a while he's felt like the cars have been good most of the season. He mentioned the Atlanta race where you came from like 20th to 3rd, and we're talking about all the great changes they'd made, and they didn't tell you till afterwards there were no changes made at all. Has this turnaround
Didn't
is
change anything? You liar.
has this turnaround been as more about you maybe recapturing something you'd lost, a confidence more so than the cars and that?
I mean, I don't know. I've been deceived here by my crew chief. I had no idea that that's what was going on in Atlanta. But I don't know. I've been doing this a long time. I mean, I never felt like I really lost anything. I mean, when we won that World Outlaw race earlier in this year, I know it has nothing to do. It's totally separate from anything that we're talking about here. But that crossed a big check mark off of my bucket list, and I think that was a really big moment for me, getting to accomplish a goal that I'd never accomplished before. And I think it reminded me that, I still can, it doesn't matter what we drive, I can still drive cars and win races, and I'm not just stuck doing it here and, not just able to win here and nowhere else. So, maybe it sparked something then, I don't know, but I never felt like anything really changed from that standpoint. I just, I had a lot of fun this year. I mean, Darian and Gene have let me go off racing any night I wanted to race, and I got to run 30 nights this year away from NASCAR races on dirt and had a blast doing it. And I think that was, as much as it scares Eddie Jarvis and Brett Fruit and our management of worrying about me getting hurt and how many people it can affect, Darian can tell you, I mean, when I would come back, it just was like it energized me. It was like hitting a reset button, and it was fun. I had fun racing again this year, and I think it transferred to what we were doing with the Cup car too. That we'd have fun Saturday night and Sunday, even if it wasn't right or it didn't work out, I still had fun doing what I was doing again, and I think that made a big difference. So I don't know if I really thought about it a bunch, but maybe it did.